What's the big topic? Relationships. So difficult. It's so difficult to be nice to people. It's so difficult to compromise. It's so difficult to see things from another person's perspective. We are so self-centered today. We're always thinking about ourselves. We're always thinking about the way I think about it, the way I want it, what I expect from you. We're kind of sick, because really we should be all about the other person, about how can I serve you, how can I make you happy. But we're so conditioned to think about ourselves. The mantra is me, 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 what I want, what I need, what you have to give me. And then we're talking about relationships. Why are they so bad? Why is it so difficult? You know, it's understandable if you're in a big organization or company. There's so many different types of people, and you didn't really agree to be friends. You didn't really agree to work with one another. So it's understandable that you might not be able to work together. There might just be someone who is so different from you, thinks so differently, you just don't get along. But what about when you choose a person to be a friend, when you choose someone to be a lover, and then you can't get along? That's a serious problem. And that's what we're dealing with now. We're dealing with this inability we're all facing to be able to actually sacrifice and compromise and empathize and accept people for who they are. There's so many expectations of how people should be. Those expectations should be about ourselves, how we should be better. But we expect other people to be better. It's a huge problem. So we have to kind of switch the thinking, switch the paradigm from being so focused on the way we want everyone else to become like we want everyone else to be. You know, there's a great saying that if you followed all the advice you gave others, you would be doing pretty good. And if we became like how we want everyone else to become, like, why don't you understand me? This is so simple. Why can't you understand? Why don't you feel me? Why don't you know what's going on in my mind? We'll switch it around. Why don't you feel them? Why don't you understand them? Why don't you know what's going on in their mind? Why can't you see it from their perspective? We all are challenged with that. And so the beginning of improving relationships is at least to recognize that this is what we're dealing with. These are the challenges, and not place the onus on the other person, but look at yourself and say, well, what can I do? How can I be better? How can I be more giving, less selfish, more serving, and not so demanding that, no, you have to be this way. That's the way we need to think. That's the way the world needs to think. The problem is we don't think that way. And that's why the world is having so much trouble. The problems that we have individually amongst ourselves, you just expand them. It's the same problem that a company has, an organization has, a city has, a state has, a country has, the world has. It's that same conflict where we just can't put our mind around another person's perspective. We can't accept that another person would think in a specific way, which is so much different from the way we think. And we just go, I can't deal with it. I can't grasp it. This is fanatical, or is this too conservative, or it's too liberal. I just can't deal with it. But the reality is that's how people are. We're all different, and we're going to have to be able to deal with it if we're going to be able to get along. We don't have to agree with it. But we're going to have to be more accepting and understanding, and the more understanding we are, the easier it is to deal with it, because we start to see that not everybody thinks like me, and there are other views which are valid according to people's natures. And even though we don't think it works or it doesn't make sense, it makes sense to them, and then we have to understand that. So, just a few thoughts to ponder. Actually, they're very deep, profound thoughts we could expand on.